Okay.
Well, thank you all for joining us this morning. This is intended to be only 30 minutes, so let's get rocking and rolling. I will just do a brief interview. This is our business owner perspective series, our perspective series. So, hearing from the entrepreneurs themselves and listening to how they grew their business, how they chose advisors, what they wish they would have known, that kind of thing. This morning we have Alex with us, as you can see, sitting there with Joe. Um, we do this every other month, and you can access these owner interviews on our Founders Group website. So if you'd ever like to go back and listen to 30 or 40 of them, you're more than welcome to. This interview will be available in the next couple of days up on our website if you want to share it or listen again. So with that, Joe, I'm going to let you take over and get this party started.
Sure. And just a shout out to some of my friends that are online with us that I've worked with just this week. So, Tim, it was great to talk to you this week. Greg, thanks for the conversation yesterday and all that was going on. Robert, great talking with your advisor yesterday. Bernadette, thanks for working with us like you do. Melissa, I haven't seen you in a while, but I'll call out to you anyways because I want more time with you, and it's good to see you, Mo. So, everybody
Hi.
else that's out there, hi to you too. Um, and thanks, Shelley. So,
Yeah.
Alex, thank you very much.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
How long ago did you start businesses? Did you start out working for somebody else, or did you start your business out of the gate?
No, I took a very traditional route. Became a doctor, went to University of Arizona, and then I did a residency in anesthesia at Loma Linda. I did full-time anesthesia for about 5 years, and then me and the surgeon just butted heads one day, and I realized, like the hospital took his side. No, it's totally right. And I realized that he drives the business to the hospital. So medicine, like anything, is a business. I'd already started a company called SD Botox at that time,
Yes.
and then that really shifted it. I focused entirely on it. Quit anesthesia within a year or two after that, and then yeah, and I mean when I went all in, when your back's to the wall, you really have to make it work. So kind of figured it out on the fly. So
So you started out with one business. Did you have lines of business to that business, or did you start separate companies as you grew?
yes, so both. So the company is called SD Botox, San Diego Botox, because all I knew how to do at the time was Botox. But then we added lines, we added filler, we added lasers, we added like we do a lot of skin tightening now. We added weight loss because everyone's on GLPs, so that was the natural flow growth of that business. The med spa industry overall has kind of gone from aesthetics into wellness. So I did build a second business that only does it's called SD Body, and it just does hormone replacement. So testosterone for men, perimenopausal women, a lot of peptides. We take over struggling recovery studios that have like cryotherapy, infrared saunas, cold plunges, hyperbaric oxygen chambers, all that kind of stuff, and we infuse the medical component. And then the goal is within 1 year, 75% of the revenue is from the medical side, and only 25% is from the existing recovery stuff. And then I started another spin-off business called SD Hair MD, which we do hair transplant, follicular unit extraction, take individual hairs out of the back and stick them in the front or the crown, male, and then we do female eyebrows, we do men beards, but mostly we just do men's hairlines and male pattern baldness back here. And then finally, I started an online business, telemedicine, where we do GLPs. So it's the same thing. So like tirzepatide, which is basically Manjaro for weight loss. And so I have 37, 38 state licenses, and we have patients in 37, 38 states.
So you have to deal with the regulatory bodies of 38 states.
Yeah, it's awful. Every
So
state.
explain that.
Yeah, I basically have a staff member who like just maintains my licensure, makes sure that we're compliant in every state. Like
So
that's
now you have one team member who just makes sure that you comply with all each state's
yeah,
regulations
and
and keeps
renews
your license.
licenses. Yeah, it's a lot of work, honestly. There is like an interstate medical license that helps with like half the states, but you have to do the rest individually. And some states don't take it at all. Like Alaska, Hawaii, they don't want anyone that doesn't live in Alaska, Hawaii. There's a
Right.
few other states that are like that, and it's tough because every state has different regulations. Like Botox, for example, in Texas, anyone can inject Botox. You can inject Botox having no medical background. And then in California, you have to be an RN. And Florida, which is like the most highly, I don't know, I think it's just kind of like anything goes in Florida State. Like for some reason, you have to be an NP, a nurse practitioner. So it's like you have to know all the rules and you know, like me and my lawyers talk about once a month on if we're compliant, all that kind of stuff.
So you bought into building this and you have to talk to lawyers once a month? That sounds like the beginning of a bad joke.
Yeah, I know, right? Compliance is, you know, it's like you can ignore it when you're small, but when you grow to a certain size and you become a target, you have to really make it, you know, especially in California. I mean,
So
like,
do you have a standardized meeting with your compliance teams that happens every month or just when something comes up?
no, it's recurring. It's usually, it could be up to 10 minutes to like 45 minutes. It's never anything crazy.
So, and you have a staff member internally in charge of that. You appear at those things.
Yeah.
So as you've grown, how has your team changed from that? You're transferring out of anesthesia, you're starting your first business. Did you have an accountant, attorney, who did you have at first?
And to be honest, I was very small and scrappy. I really like only put $5,000 into the business.
Right.
And then I didn't have any of that. And then I lost that 5,000. So I repeated it 5 times. So I total of 25,000.
So you have a $25,000 learning curve
Yeah.
of 5 events.
Right.
Okay.
And so just with that amount of people, it definitely would have been, you know, it would have been tough to get like all these kind of like higher end,
Very
you know,
much.
financial advisors, lawyers, etc. And so I just kind of fumbled around, figured it out, as we grew, that's when I started adding all that. How I've got all that stuff.
So what is all that stuff? How many?
Well, I've got. Well, recently I had I partially exited one of my companies, and so as a result, I've definitely grown. And so now I've got you helping me from the legal point of view. I've got Greg helping with investments. I've got Morgan Stanley, that's helping as well. Kind of like you guys are a little more cowboy in a good way, and they're more like this is what we got to do, strict, you know. So I'm trying to pay the least amount of taxes, stay liquid, and you know, grow my money. So it's like a juggling. It's like a new thing I'm working on now. But even before that, I was working with Greg and you already, and then was with Morgan Stanley, but I was small. They were like answering my calls. Now they pick up every time. And then I've got my legal compliance teams. I got, you know, a firm out of New York that the ones I deal with compliance and any issues that come up with patients. And then I'm always being sued by some ex-employee. So I've got it's not in-house, but I've got a relationship with a what's it called, employment attorney.
Yep. You have not been hit with any PAGA suit yet, but singular employee.
No, I'm threatened with a PAGA right now.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, singular for sure. Yeah. I know honestly there's like value in getting sued. I mean, I hate to say it, but like the more you get sued, the less you care about getting sued. So it's like, you know, you're gonna get that piece of paper, and when you do, it's like it's gonna be like 8 months of discovery, and it's like, why worry? Just like
Let it
it
run.
seems to be like 25,000 is a magic number to throw at people, and they'll just go away. It's like all this song and dance, and it's finally like I think like too like employer.
I think the PAGA may be a bigger number.
That one will be big. We're not huge. Yeah, and that's gonna be interesting when like every employer, ex-employee gets a random check in the mail, and then they think that I did something wrong when
Sure.
California compliance that no one can keep
Yeah,
up with.
and for those of you on the line that may not know this, PAGA is California's answer to a singular employee that works for you. If they were wrong, and they think they were wrong similarly to other employees, an attorney can represent that employee, and they can act like the attorney general's authority in California to then sue the employer. The sad part about it is the standard by which you can sue the amount of money is that amount of money that will just barely not put the employer and anybody else 25% or more into bankruptcy. So that's the cap. The difficulty is it's over things that are hard to watch or monitor. Did people take lunches? Were they given the availability to? Did they decide on their own or
Right.
not? Did they bend over too many times? Did you comply with OSHA or whatever it was? But as a class, and the members of the class don't even have to participate. The lawyers get a third of the cut, and most of the lawyers on either side go out and drink together on a regular basis. So there's this club of extraction of money from business owners that drive people nuts. That I've got some in the construction and plumbing and et cetera industry that want to be done because there's this, but there is the joy that if you settle something from the date of settlement backwards, none of those people can come at you.
Right.
For the thing you settled for.
Right.
So you want to settle for the most things possible
Mhm.
in order to make that happen. But you've been through that.
I'm in the infancy. That's what I have to look forward to.
Yeah.
They're kind of like the new like ADA compliant lawyer, when they would just have someone with a wheelchair and like if either ramp wasn't the right grade or
Yes.
so they would just like and they would just go systematically or now like the new like lawyer trolls are like online about like you know I I think we had that cookie, do you accept the cookies? And we did some upgrade and that fell off. Got
Right.
sued over that. We took an image from somebody. One of my employees took an image from someone, got sued over that. I mean, there's one point I think I had like 7 or 8 lawsuits going on. I think I've got it down to like 2. And like I said, I had that exit, so it's like now it's like my new partners are, they've got powerful lawyers, so I'm not quite the target. I hope. I think that like it's interesting. There's a sweet spot I think for lawyers to sue. It's like when you're too small, they don't care.
Yes.
When you're too big, you're too powerful, and they're gonna, you got your in-house counsel, whatever. But it's like they really go after that kind of like growing middle, small business that's big enough that they could really like get something out of it. It's kind of a sad situation, but I mean, it is what it is. It's just part of life. So.
And then you talked about a partial exit. So you took one of the brands and
Mhm.
you acquired a partner. So you said two things: somewhat a partial exit and partner. So how did you decide I want out altogether, I want out of a business, or I want some cash, but I'm willing to take on some partner that is putting in money? How'd you decide amongst that?
Yeah, it was very serendipitous. I've been like I have a very like my industry as well as like home services being like plumbing, electric, all that kind of stuff. Um, it's like a very desirable area for private equity right now. We're getting big multiples. I was getting offers every day, and just one fell in my lap. And finally, I was like, all right, let's explore this one. The number made sense. The structure made sense. Like the cultural fit between me and the new and the firm made sense. It was the only female-run firm, so obviously my industry, not just my employees, but also like my patients are like 85% women. I like that. There was a doctor that was one of the partners. I like that. I really like people, unless they were just the world's greatest actors. We got along, saw eye to eye. We had a similar vision. I like the idea that like instead of growing one store at a time, we could grow, like a major metropolitan area with multi-location, like acquisition. I like that. I feel like I could have kept going, but I could go bigger with them. So it just really like, I was 42 at the time. I'm 43 now, and so it's not like I needed to sell, but I wanted to sell. It just felt right with them right then. So
What's it like having a pile of cash?
mm,
You still have businesses that generate income,
mhm,
but one of your big income generators is now a pile of cash.
mhm.
And
Yeah.
now you have to do something with a pile of cash. What's that like?
It's daunting. I actually, when I was going through the transaction, I was so focused on the deal that I didn't really think about what I would do with the money afterwards. And so then I had this feeling of guilt when it all just hit the bank account. I was like staring at it 25 times a day, and I was like, well, what am I going to do with this? Like, I'm not, I just do things sooner rather than later because of tax reasons and maximize all that kind of stuff. And then I don't know, I had a chat with someone new from YPO, and they
Mm-hmm.
were like a friend in YPO, and he was just telling me that like that's the worst thing. You just sit on it, take your time, think about it. Don't buy. I mean, I bought myself a watch. It was $25,000 watch. I went on a trip to Suriname, country in South America, like $5,000 6,000 trip, and that was it. That was like my gift to myself. I'll remember that watch or that moment. And then and then slowly I'm starting to like deploy the money a little bit. Me and Greg talked yesterday. I like that opportunity, so put some money there. Um, I want to stay pretty liquid. I think that's pretty important to me. I think like the money itself gives me like the freedom to say something nothing works out. I want to move to Suriname. I have that ability, and so it's like I I don't I want to do some tax strategy. I want to do some long term like savvy investments, obviously, but I also like the idea of kind of slow and steady and keeping some money that just like is my money. Should I want to make a drastic change in my life, whatever that.
Nowhere in there did I hear gunslinging, that you wanted a PE return on the money,
PE
a
return.
private equity return on the money. I didn't see anywhere in your mix that you said, oh, out of this cash that I've got, I'm going to do some slow and steady, I'm going to do some scary. But I didn't hear a fourth category of, I want a 25% rate of return on some of
Um,
it. Yeah. So, but I'm
that
not
no,
saying you
there
should,
is yeah, there is
but
a little bit actually.
I know people are coming at you
Mhm.
saying, hey, what about this?
Right. Oh yeah, I've got a lot of new best friends for sure. Um, No, but the group that I transacted with, they do allow me to participate in the next round,
Yes.
and I did earmark like $1 million for that. I think that would be
So you're putting
worthwhile
$1 million back into the deal.
into the next.
Yes.
Yeah, like they raise money and then they do a bunch of fees, and I'll be in that run.
You'll be in the next
Yeah,
group of views.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
So you took part of that money. That's a good plan for them. I'll buy you, but I got a new fund. You want to contribute to it?
Yeah, well, they give you the option. I was like, there's no fees. It's only open to like founders and private. I don't know. I'm not a partner, but like people in their company. So, and also they take money outside, but they have fees and all that. So,
I haven't heard any of these conversations accounting for. What did you start with, and do you still have the same one? Have you changed? What has that been like?
accounting, we had an in-house controller for SD Botox, the big company. She's still with us. I'm trying to now distance myself from SD Botox, so I've got a new bookkeeper. I'm keeping my same CPA, um, and then yeah, it's like I'm making some moves right now that I have a partner in another business that I'm going to buy out so that I could own 100% of a business because I don't currently, and then so that I could then kind of continue owning 100% of something. There's a lot
Sure.
of value in that for me. So I realized that I have partners in basically everything right now, so I don't love that. So
You've had to, over time, and especially recently, look at some of your professional relationships and say, I can't continue with that person anymore, and I need to go find another. What has that been like?
yeah, breaking up with someone's always tough. Someone said like your success is directly proportionate to the amount of uncomfortable conversations you're willing to have. Like even now I've got people calling me about how to deploy this money. I'm like saying no to some, I'm ignoring some, and I'm saying yes to some. So it's like, you know, it's like it is a relationship, and it's like it's hard leaving. Like I've switched CPAs in the past, I've switched lawyers in the past. Like it's always pretty amicable. They send you your files and just
Sure.
pass it on.
What makes you leave, and how do you choose the next?
I wish I had like an awesome answer. Like I really like vetted a million people. Just kind of like how these people come into my life. I don't even know, but it's just like bond with them. What they say makes sense. You feel like they're someone that'll better your life, and just start the relationship small and let it grow from there.
And that's how you are looking at news. On the ones you had to exit from, what was the cause? Was it a technical ability? Was it lack of alignment? Was it not good communication? Was it they didn't seem to have what you needed next? Or was it somebody else that came along that was better? What is the reason for exit?
Yeah, all of them. I mean, yeah, I've been very upset at people and been like, just give me my file, I'm out. And then I've definitely been like, well, I think, now that I've leveled up financially, like I've kind of outgrown this person, like, and so it's time to go on to this person. Um, so yeah, it just, like I think about that as even as in my business, like SD Botox, like I had one manager when I was, small, and then I got another, and then we outgrew them, and then we got a third. She's the one that really we took off with. So it's like, but that third one wouldn't make sense for her to run my company at its
It's
infancy.
valid.
So it's like it's like part of life is just kind of like you grow and you just surround yourself with people that can keep up and grow with you.
And of the people that are coming at you now, um, you said some you ignore, some you listen to and say no, and some you listen to and might do a thing to start with.
Mm-hmm.
What's that process like? Is that a gut about the person or a gut about the investment or professional? What
I
is
think
that
both.
process?
Yeah, I think it is a relationship. You do need to like and trust the person themselves. Trust is huge. It's like you're giving away a lot of money. You could have, you might never see that again. Like I've given people loans and never seen it again. But one time, so I learned my lesson. I don't do that anymore.
Right.
So it's like you get burned a few times, and so it is nice to start slow and kind of try different things out, and then if it goes well, kind of next step, next step, next step. But it is also the relationship, like the person themselves, how you feel about them. It is a gut component to it. It's not just like kind of like my transaction with the PE firm. It's like wasn't just about the valuation and the structure. It was also about the relationship, like the feel, like cultural fit? Are we gonna like basically like this is my partner going forward? So it's like, you know, after negotiating so hard and hating each other with lawyers involved, and then the next day you're supposed to be best friends. So it's like I took a vacation just to like cool down. It's like a frat. Like it haze you, and then all of a sudden you're in and you're brothers. It's like, no, I don't feel like you're brothers yet. I'm gonna hang out for a second. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's just yeah, it's a new world I'm entering. It's a little daunting. It's like I have to do everything that I always do, like work wise. I still see patients Tuesday, Wednesday. I still run the company, etc. But it's like now I do have this like nest egg over here that I have to this money that I have to make sure I maximize the return on, minimize taxes, and you know make it keep it somewhat liquid. So it's like a little bit of a new job, but I'm taking it slow. Like I really feel like like I was talking to that guy from YPO and he was talking about he sees this a lot and he's like people buying big extravagant things like boats and planes and houses like vacation houses etc. And he's like the smart ones really just sit on it and they're invested slowly and then oftentimes there's a crash in the market or whatever and they go buy the toy at like down here instead of the regular market price. So that conversation went a long way.
Yep. I would also, um, I can't tell you the number of entrepreneurs that I've asked that seem more relaxed. And they all say the same thing. I overextended myself again when I had that big event. And there was some debt, and there was some spent, and some, etc. Joe, I realized if I lived a lower life, if I spent less than I was making and I had the big bucket, and the joy was not in the things I bought with it, but seeing the big bucket, I'm much more relaxed than I used to be.
Right. Well,
So,
you're saying if they keep the big bucket, if they don't blow
yeah,
it on extravagant things. I agree, and I'm guilty of, I went through a exotic car phase, a few years ago, kind of got that out of my system. I'm kind of into watches a little bit, but
there's a man cave phase.
yeah, there's like, so I did buy the neighbor's house that I am turning into like my man cave for sure. Yeah. So I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm not really preaching everything I'm saying right now, but it's a balance, and that house will gain equity. I got a good deal on it and build it out, not just to like my specification. It does have like the cool stuff like a gym and a
Sure.
speakeasy and a movie theater and stuff. But it does have, but it's like done in a way that the next people are gonna want it. There was a
Sure.
moment when I wasn't even gonna put a kitchen in it. It was like
Oops.
big, yeah. And I kind of my realization that like, no, we have to keep this for like so the next people are gonna want a kitchen.
And who knows? You might do entertaining over there and not mess with the family.
Yeah, that's true. My wife jokes about that because I'm an early riser. She's like, go live in your house.
What, common question, what do you wish you would have known before you went through the sale process that you now know now for the piece you just sold?
That's an excellent question. You learn so much during the process. I don't know. I never brought it to market. It was really like a deal fell in my lap. There was a few times when I was going to walk away and take it to market, so I thought that might have been interesting. But I
Sure.
mean, the deal did make sense. They do say when you sell, you should start like making it dialing your business in for a sale like 2, 3 years ahead of time. I really didn't do that. Like you get bigger multiples for recurring revenue, so more
Yes.
memberships would have been smart. Um, they in my business they carved a there's something called GLPs that we've been talking about, and it's so volatile and those laws change so often that they changed the structure a little bit because they were a little fearful of that, and it was okay. I was okay with the changes they made. I thought that was fair. Um, I don't know. I would say I did a good job just because I didn't have to, so I was willing to walk away. I didn't think they saw that, and now it's interesting because I'm on this side. So we're vetting other med spas to buy, and it's fascinating to hear how we talk amongst each other.
It would
About
have been nice to know how the buyer was thinking and talking.
I think I've got a lot of insight just being on this side. I think selling one business through it's going to be like such an advantage to sell future businesses.
Yes.
Um, I think it's just so new. It just like like every day is like a new. I was definitely getting stressed towards the end. I was just like, like it was supposed to close like in like 4 months. It took like 9. So, it just you have to go through due diligence, you have to go through accounting due diligence, and these people just pick you apart, and then you have legal. Luckily we were pretty clean, to be honest, so they didn't have. And then we had, I mean, they just look under every hood. I'd like to be honest, I was a little bit shielded from all the nitty gritty. Like they used a lot of my staff for that, like my account department, my operations. They got just drilled, and then I paid everyone out. I really tried to make everyone that was a big deal to my company. Like I tried to do it right by them. So I think we're honestly like I'm super excited. I was kind of scared to tell my staff that I sold, and everyone was like, "Okay, that makes sense." It's just everyone showed up on Monday, and it was just like another day. So it's been good so far. And like even my relationship with them has been the P firm. It's been great. So I feel right now, you could ask me in like a couple months, but right now I'm pretty happy with the decision.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Alex, thank you very much for
Yeah.
sharing all today. We end up benefiting, we as a group are lucky to represent business owners, but often, would you imagine that advisors really don't understand how a business owner thinks? That often we assign ideas to a business owner. We all get together in industry events. And we say, this is how they all think.
Right.
And oddly enough, I don't think we do know that. So it's these kinds of insights and talking to it helps us a lot.
Yeah. No, I'm learning about your world too. So
Thank you. All right, guys and gals. Greg, thank you very much for bringing Alex into our life.
Thank you,
Shelley,
guys.
thanks for setting this up. As always, Ella, thanks for making all these things come together. You all have a great day. Go forth and make sure that you listen to your clients on what's unique about them that day. That might be a variant of this. And let's not any of us assume what's happening in our other advisors or clients' minds, but ask the really good questions. So y'all have a good day.